Okay guys, welcome to this tutorial. Today I'll be taking you through almost everything you need to know about how to use the SP Flash tool. Due to request, I thread XDA developers, I just decided I'll have to try my hand on doing a tutorial, comprehensive tutorial for using SP Flash tool. My name is Bolumstar, a member of the SDA developers. You can visit the forum as sda-developers.com is a wonderful place. You can read a whole lot about smartphones and whatever you want to know about. So let's get started. What is SP Flash tool? SP Flash tool, for some of us who don't know, is a special software that is used to write, to program, to install things on a select smartphone uh, that is that has MediaTek processors. That's MTK in short form. So this tutorial is also for phones that use MTK processors. So if you're using Qualcomm, Samsung Exons, this one is not for you. So let's get started. Before you use the SP Flash 2, I've already downloaded it here. I'll give you all the link to the download. I'll give you all the link to the download when we get at the end of the tutorial. So I'm going to make sure that we are able to go through whatever that we should be able to go. I want to keep this recorder here so that I can pause when I need to pause, and maybe not to make the tutorial so long. Anyways, let's get started. I would recommend that you also download Notepad++. Notepad++ is a very important program. We're actually going to use it to read, to check out the scatter file. So one of the things that's also important about SP Flash 2 is the scatter file. In fact, it's the engine room, it's the controller of whatever you're going to be doing in this SP Flash 2. You're going to need a scatter file. It's just the partition table of the ROM you want to put into the phone. The SP Flash tool will read the partition table of the inside the phone and compare it with the one in your scatter file. If they are the same, you can. But if they are not the same, it will allow you to probably damage your phone. Not that you can actually damage your phone. You can. We won't go into that. You see, and there's also another tool here that is called MTK Droid tool. You can also use MTK Droid to do a backup of your ROM. You can do a real backup of your ROM. You can root your MTK device with it, but we're not going to focus on that because the phone we are using is Infinix X5112. It's not so compatible with MTK Droid 2 yet, so you have to do it with SP Flash 2 completely. Okay, let's open up the SP Flash. But before we do that, now you have to download the MediaTek drivers. You have to download MediaTek drivers, and briefly, I will show you how to install it. When you put your phone off, that's how to install most preloader ROM. When you put your phone off, you probably I like to go through this pattern. Normally, I'm using Windows 7. Go to properties. I'm going to device manager. Then I'll go to device manager, and the device manager will actually show me what do I have. Already you can see I have COM ports. I have COM ports, several COM ports, because there are a whole lot of other things I do with COM port. But if you do not have it, just power off your phone. When you power off your phone, you plug it. You will notice that there is just power off your phone. Okay, after you've powered off your phone, just plug your phone to your computer. You will notice that there will be some movement here. I just plug the phone now. There will be some movement, and you have to be very fast. Immediately, it's going to bring out a port here. So you can actually unplug your phone. If you don't have USB COM drivers, you will see there's a driver that is marked bad, probably written MTK preload XS MTK preloader SS MTK. I can't remember exactly, but I've already installed that. So the easiest way to do the installation of the port, it will be around here. It will show you port MTK something something and mark with a red X on it. So what you have to do is that you go to that red X as you've already downloaded this thing and go to update driver software. I'm going to show you how you're going to do that, how you're going to install the VCOM USB driver in case you've not installed it. So when you click on that, you just say browse. And at this point now, you are not going to go to this browse here. You are going to say, let me pick from the list of devices. So now the particular driver that you clicked on will be shown here. The hardware will be shown here. And then I already have this installed, so that's why you're seeing this one is RIM virtual serial port. It's a COM port too, but not for the preloader. So my preloader didn't show because I already installed it. So you can click on have disk and you browse. So when you browse, you then go to desktop, going to desktop, and then go to the MediaTek. Yeah, you've extracted the MediaTek USB COM drivers you've extracted, and you can open it. Now you see drivers. My own. There are in some cases you might have more than one this thing because there are a whole lot of drivers that comes with the VCOM USB driver. So, but you pick just the USB VCOM driver only, and then you select your system. I'm using Windows 7, and I'm using this is 32-bit. This guy is 64-bit, so I'm using 32-bit. I'm gonna click on this guy, and then I'm gonna say OK. Now, if immediately I said OK, you can notice that it showed me a whole lot of drivers that can work with this hardware, this COM port hardware. So you see, the one we're going to actually be working with is the MediaTek USB, MediaTek preloader USB VCOM port. And that's the one you need for SP Flash 2 to work. So you select it and then you click next. You will notice that the driver is not digitally signed, so it will tell you all the blah 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 blah. Just click yes and it will install. After installing, just reboot your system to make sure everything works well. I'm not going to install it now because I already have it in my system, so I'm going to say no to that. So you can always check when you install it here from here. So after that, then the next thing we're going to do is to go to empty flash 2. Empty flash 2, you just zip file, you extract it. It is not, it's just inside a folder. You just start it from the folder. An important thing you should know is that there are a whole lot of things here inside it, but this guy, the flash 2, is the guy you're going to use. And you right click it, always run it as administrator. You always run MTK administrator. So you accept yes and you will get started. So this is how the uh, MTK flash to SP flash 2 looks when you open it. So there are a whole lot of things here. We start from the welcome. You can read information about other things. There are a whole lot of things you can actually test from download. You can download built image from formatting the read back, whole lot of things. You can get other infos here on the welcome. You know, there are a whole lot of things that this guy can do. We might not be able to go through all of them in this tutorial. We'll just go through the basics. Then format, don't just play around with the site. Auto format, it's always accept format whole flash except bootloader. It's very, very important that you don't just go play around with your bootloader, preloader, whatever that you have there, because if you wipe anything there, you might lose some information and your phone may not be able to start up again. And here is the area we'll be working on. From this download is where you flash something. And then if you want to do a backup with read back, then you can go to read back here. You want to test the memory of the phone, a whole lot of things you can do here, and then test the memory of the phone that you want to test. But today we'll be focusing on how to flash using this download section and how to read back, you know, do backup, stock backup, or whatever you want to do with your ROM. So let's get it started. Okay, so every SV flash to flashable ROM must have a scatter file, and that's exactly what this SP flash tool will use to work with the phone. So let me explain it now. For each phone, we are using the Infinix Hot 2 X510 that has a processor MT6580. The SP flash tool can actually read the partition table inside this phone. Then what it needs to do is that you have to load a scatter file here so that it can now compare the scatter file test and the one partition table and the one inside the phone. The two of them must combine, they must be corresponding to each other before they can be flashed. So I want to show you that now. I have several ROMs that are here. So let's say this one. This is one of my fixed Android One ROM. So then when you open this guy, you will discover that there is empty. It must be empty. The processor number 6580 underscore Android scatter should be a text file. So usually I say open it with open it with we'll open it with it's better to open with this guy, and this is important to open with this guy. And let's see how it goes. This is a scatter file. This is what is inside. If you open it with ordinary Notepad, Notepad++ arranges very well. If you open it with ordinary Notepad, it's not really fun to have if you open it. So this is Notepad++, and it's very important to use it to open scatter file. Now I'm going to teach you something that confuses a lot of people when they use scatter file, especially for this particular phone, Android One Infinix X and X510, because Android One Infinix X550 have two kind of ROM. The one is XUI by Infinix and is a 5.1 Lollipop. Then the other one is Android One ROM firmware. So many people might be wondering which one. People have their preferences. Some like 5.1, some like the Android One more. But that's not what I'm here to debate. I'm just here to show you that both of them have different kind of scatter file. Now the scatter file, the address have to be the same. This is the one for XUI, the Infinix ROM. It has to be the same. So you look at it, it has to be the same. And what is very important here is that the SP flash tool cannot accept if to flash a ROM that is outside this information. First of all, it will read inside the phone. It will also get this information. It will read the MTK platform CGF5 to get the information that is needed. It cannot, SP cannot flash a phone that the information here is different from the one that is inside the phone. But you will notice something here now, because this is the first one for Android One. You notice something here that both of them have the same info. So now let's go ahead now, because many people have been complaining to me that they are not able to flash their Android One, this and that. They're not able to use SP Flash 2. There's not much different here. Now let me explain here. Now if you pull down this drag down button, you will see format all and download. Don't usually use this one if you don't want to use this one all the time, except maybe for a phone that is bricked and you have the correct scatter file and the ROM to flash on it. You can use this one if the phone is hard bricked. If it's soft brick, you can use firmware upgrade. Now look at what happened. Firmware download only just downloads the information you tick here and replace it, rewrite it on the one that is already in the partition. So for you to do download, the the information on your scatter file and the information on your phone partition must be the same. So if they are the same, no problem. You just replace the particular images or files you wanted to write on the phone. But if they are not the same, but they are the same phone, like I will show you here, this is the XUI. The information here is the same for the phone. Like this is the Android one. The information here is the same. As you can see, I clicked here. This one is for the Android one. This is for the XUI. The information here is the same. So the phone can use it. And you also notice now that the address of the preloader, and the size are also the same. So you can see that here. So the phone can actually use the information of this scatter file and put here. But for you to be able to do that, this now what you use now, you can use download only to put the XUI on X5110 and put it to rewrite, to do download on the, if the phone has Android 1 inside. So what you have to do now is that you have to use firmware upgrade. If you're coming from XUI to Android 1, or if you're coming from Android 1 to XUI, you cannot use download only because the partitions are not the same. So it can't just rewrite the information from the SP flash to into the phone. It has to be the same. So what you can do in that situation is that you have to select firmware upgrade. And mind you, if you select firmware upgrade, everything here must be selected. Everything here must be selected. So what firmware upgrade will do is that it will format all the partition, and that means you lose every information in your phone. It will format all the partition, and then except the preloader, it will format all the partition and rewrite the information here. It will check the phone partition table and then rewrite all this information. So if you're using firmware upgrade, everything must be selected. Now if you see, if I remove one, it automatically change to download because everything was not selected. It's not gonna put everything, it's gonna wipe everything and put everything back. So that means now if you're coming from XUI, it will now change the partition to suit in the XUI, or if you're coming from Android 1 to XUI, to just do vice versa. So that's that about that. And also we have readback. We'll talk about readback in a short while. So the first thing we're going to do here is, for some of us that, okay, let me hold this now. For some of us that your phone, you can't find, you're using MTK but you can't find, just go to the internet, search for the MTK, the Android scatter file of your phone. Once you get it, the information here. But for some of us who cannot get it, there's a program also that can help you. Unfortunately, this program is not working so well for our dear MT6580 Android One. You can also use a program that is called MTK Droid 2. MTK Droid 2. You can use this program called MTK Droid 2 to actually get information about your phone. So you have to also extract it and then open the folder, right click on the MTK Droid tools and run it as administrator. You run it as administrator and there you go. That's assuming you do not have, you want to do a backup, but you don't have the scatter file to do that. You see, you can generate the scatter file of your phone from here to show you the information of your phone. I've not connected my phone yet, so when you do that, you'll be able to get the scatter file of your phone, and then you can at least use it to do backup. Some of the modern phones cannot work exactly well with this. There are few MTK that's not really there. I think there's a newer version of this Droid 2, which might probably include MT6580 and some other newer listening to be able to newer processors of MTK to be able to read them back or create backup with them. You can also create backup with this guy. But you can't flash with this guy. So that's the limitation. So let's keep it. I'll put on my phone and I'll show you further information in case. But it's always easy to get your. It's always easy to get your. To get your. It's always easy to get your this thing online, your scatter file for your particular phone. So now, in my own case here, there is a ROM for my phone that is flashable through SP Flash 2. So you can see a whole lot of information and blah blah blah, a whole lot of information here. But what you look out for first to be able to use SP Flash 2 is this particular guy, the processor number, the and underscore Android and scatter. That's what you need to flash this phone. Okay guys, let me show you how you can get information on your phone if you're using an MTK device with MTK Droid 2. So first of all, make sure that before you do this that you already enabled USB debugging from the developer options. You go to developer option and then you enable USB debugging. So once that is done, you just plug in your phone and let's see what happens. So once you plug in your phone, it will give you some information here. Excuse me. Now you can see that now that this the hardware, the chip is already out here to give you information about your phone. We're not going to go into MTK Droid today. We can leave it for another day. I'm actually using Android 6.0. You can see the version here. Give me the kernel version. Should be root shell. It's telling you that if it's blue, you know it should be root shell and stuff like that. There is actually page there's error in reading the partition format with this 6580. I don't know, maybe the newer versions of MTK Droid 2 might have been able to correct that. But you see, unknown ROM structure backup not possible. So we can actually do backup with this, and it doesn't actually generate the block map very well. So we're not going to be able to use that now. So that will be for another tutorial how to use this MT Droid 2 to work on your phone. But I just wanted to show you that. Okay, now we're gonna try flashing the wrong. We're gonna try flashing the wrong partition on another kind of another partition in another kind of phone using the download, and we're gonna see what happens. So we're gonna see what happens when we do that. For you to flash ROM, you have to open the folder. Make sure that the particular files you are flashing is in the same folder with the scatter text file. Make sure that. So we're going to go to loading the scatter here, and we're going to load Teamway recovery project. We're going to load TRP recovery and try to flash it in a phone that the phone partition has Android 1 partition platform. Let's see what will happen, because this is the best example of trying to flash the wrong. This is the best example of trying to flash the wrong kind of file. So you notice now that this is what we are flashing. The only file present in this location is the recovery. So we cannot even use firmware upgrade, because firmware upgrade will select everything, and the only thing that it will write is this guy. But since we are using download, we're just going to use download for now. I'm going to use download for now, and only thing we are flashing here is the recovery. So let's see how it goes. This is the folder that we are flashing, and oh sorry, that's not the guy. This is the folder that we are flashing, and you see inside the folder it only has the recovery and the scatter file. So assuming I want to flash the boot, the system, the user file, I can put it here, and with the same scatter file it will. But this scatter file is for XUI Infinix ROM, so you can't use it to download an image into Android One ROM that is in the phone. If your phone has Android One ROM, you have to use the scatter partition for Android One to do that. So let's give it a try and see what it will give us. Now this is the same guy. So you click on the download, and then after that, make sure your phone is off. So when your phone is off, then you just plug your phone in, as I'm going to do now. Okay, as noticed, there's download here, but of course, you see now we have we have a problem. We have a problem because the SC flash we have actually read the chip info. That's read the chip info now, and it has it here. So, but it cannot flash this guy now because there is a partition management table change for the ROM. It must be downloaded. So it's actually telling you that there is a change between the partition and the scattered file. Let's say okay. So there's a change in what is here and what I read here. There's quite change. So I cannot do download. I can only do download when what is here is the same thing with what is here. That's when I can do download. So right now let's try to flash the same recovery using let's try to flash the same recovery using the correct partition for Android One. And let's say open now. It will always be the same thing, but this time around, you see the folder we are using now for the scatter is different, and we're going to flash only the recovery. Oh, sorry, something wrong with my Mac. We're going to flash only the recovery right now. So let's see how it goes right now. So now that I've put the partition, I'll click on the download. Make sure your phone is off before you start doing this. And now I'm going to plug in my phone and let's see the outcome of this one. Now you notice, okay, it has put this now, downloading, and it's flashing. And after flashing, it's already showing you the good mark, which means that we have flashed this ROM right now. The same thing is applicable to ROM, even if I'm flashing a full ROM, even if I'm flashing a non-full ROM, whatever. If the partition is not the same, you not be able to flash it. It will give you some warning about that. So even if I load now, let me load a scatter file for Infinix ROM. I think there's one of them. There's one of them. Let me load the scatter file. Sorry. Okay. Let me load the scatter file. This is the full ROM. You see now. I'm going to load this scatter file, and then even if I say this is Infinix UI ROM, now if I say download it to a phone that has Android One partition table in it, it won't be able to go. It will still give me that PMT change for ROM must be downloaded. Now let's do that. Let's do that. We're trying to download Infinix UI ROM into Android One ROM phone, and let's see how it goes. Plug it in to still be the same thing. It won't go. It won't go. So many people are running into this problem and they don't know why. This is exactly why it won't go. But now this is not completely bad scenario. I can actually flash it back. I can flash it because they have the same information, the same preloader, the same raw chip information. But if I tell it to firmware upgrade, that means now I'm changing. I'm not just going to write something into the partition. I'm going to format the partition to go along. I'm going to format the partition in this one to go along with the scatter file that I've already loaded here. So if I use firmware upgrade now, I must select everything. If I remove one now, it will go down to download and it won't be able to download. So I must select all and then select firmware upgrade here. If I select firmware upgrade, this same particular one that refused to write, and if I click download right now, you will now see that the same thing that failed to write will begin to write. So let's see. I've clicked on firmware upgrade. It's the same ROM that failed to write. Now you see the next thing to do to format the whole partition. Now you see here it's formatting the whole partition. It won't do that if I selected only firmware upgrade. It will format the whole partition before it start writing. Format is 100%. It has flashed the preloader, and then that's the preloader, and then it started writing the ROM, the same ROM that refused to be written in the first place when we used the download. So I'm going to pause this. When it finishes, I'm going to pause it. When it finishes up, we will. Okay, it's almost coming to the end of it now. So it's flashing the Infinix UI into my phone. So it's 100% okay now. I'm gonna reboot my device and see. It has been a while I saw the Infinix UI last. And then after that, we're going to also try to flash back the Android one, and we're going to see the challenges and the processes again that it will take, because the partition has changed now. As I told you, if you can't do download right now you can't download Android one ROM into this one. You have to also do a firmware upgrade for Android one to begin to work in this phone. So I'm going to pause it, and then I'll reboot my phone, and after that we're going to go back to do the Android one. Okay guys, we'll finish booting our phone, and now we are running the XUI on my X iPhone. Oh, and mind you, to wipe everything you have in your phone. If you do firmware upgrade, it will wipe out everything in your phone, user phone, not in your memory card, but everything inside your phone will be wiped out. So please, before you do firmware upgrade, make sure you back up whatever you have inside of your phone, because whatever you have inside of your phone will be wiped off when you do firmware upgrade. So right now we're still going to try something. Now we're still going to try to see whether we can load let's try and load back the Android one ROM. Okay, let's load from the desktop. Let's load Android one ROM again on our SP Flash 2 and see whether it will go. Already now we have where's that ROM? Let me just find it on the desktop. Okay, X5110. Don't worry, found the name. So let's load another Android one ROM here and see what happens, whether it can go back by just download to the XUI. Yeah, this is the ROM we want to load. We'll just load the scatter file, and yeah, so this is the Android one. My phone now has been flashed with XUI, and I'm gonna try to do download only. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna do download only in the phone. Let's see what happens. Okay, just notice that something was connected. It's reading the download. It can't download only because the PMT for the ROM as the partition management table, there's a problem. It didn't balance. So if you're coming from XUI, if you're coming, oh, sorry, page cannot be displayed. I clicked the wrong thing. If you're coming from XUI, if you're using XUI and you want to go to Android one, You have to do firmware upgrade, and before you do that, please back up everything in your phone, because everything inside your phone, not in your memory card, everything inside your phone will be wiped out. So you see, the same run that actually failed to work now, we are going to make it work. We're going to make it work by using firmware upgrade. We're going to get back to uh, our basic by using firmware upgrade. But before that, let me just check something. Sorry. Okay, guys. Now that my system has come back to XUI, and Android One firmware couldn't come in without firmware upgrade. We're going to load Android One now and use firmware upgrade to get back to where we are before when we started this tutorial. And this is the one we're going to load, Android One by Bolumstar. I actually did some fix on this one for some of you who have recovery that cannot boot into recovery manually. That's the reason why I did this fix. So that's the one I always run. Once you flash this one and start doing update, whatever, you can at any point boot into recovery from your phone. So we're going to open it now. It's in download only. We're going to select firmware upgrade. Select firmware upgrade because it's UI, the US, the XUI. Sorry, remind me. Okay, we're gonna click on download button, and this is probably the end side. We're gonna do the after this. We're gonna do. Let me plug in the phone. Just plug in the phone. You see the download. It has shown download the style format, the partition, so that it will now put this scatter file partition into this phone. So that's what it's going to do. As it's done that now, splash the bootloader and then started flashing this. So I'll have to pause, to save time. When it's almost finishing, I will come back. Okay, you see now the flashing is almost coming to an end. It's almost coming to an end, and once you finish, you see the good arrow mark. Yeah, we are done. And now what we're not able to flash using download, we're able to do using firmware upgrade. See, so I'm gonna restart the phone, and after that I'm gonna do something. The next thing now, we're gonna go into the read back. We're gonna go into how to read back, because it's important. Any single moment, anytime you finish doing a new OTA or whatever it is, if it's an OTA upgrade or you just got your phone new, if I know how to do read back, I would have had the read back of my stock everything, but I didn't know how to do it then, so I messed up with some things. Sometimes when you mess up with some things, you may not be able to get it back. So once you've flashed your phone, once you've received your phone stock, or you just did an OTA, before you start tweaking, it's important you just do a read back of the major things. Sometimes you may not need to do all the read back. You might just do system, recovery, boot. Sometimes you might need to do all of them. Sometimes you may not. So you just flash it again, and then your phone will be seen as okay to receive OTA updates. So after that, you can now do your OTA updates. So that's that for now. We are going to do the read back of this from the stock that we flashed. But first, we're going to reboot the phone, and after that, we'll just make sure the phone is working. Okay, then we'll off it back, and then do the full read back of that of the ROM that we just flashed. Okay, guys, after flashing our stock ROM, we've booted the phone. Everything is looking just okay. So it's important, before we go into read back, it's important that you understand that before you start thinking with your phone, before you start routine, before you start doing a framework, modding, whatever you want to do with your phone, after you just finished flashing the stock ROM, maybe you flash this one, and maybe you receive an OTA, it's important you do a read back. If you received an OTA, now you have to do a read back of boot. You can add Okay, if you want. Boot, recovery, system. So you now use download to flash them again. When you flash them again, your system will look as if it has not been tampered with. Your system will become untampered with. It to be read only. So once you flash it there, you can now flash a Teamwin recovery. You can now flash super whatever. But anytime you get your phone, you can do a full backup with SP Flash 2 of your phone stock. You just do it stock. This in this case, we're going to do the stock backup. We're going to do the stock backup in this case. So I want you to see how. Okay, so now this is the folder we're going to be doing our backup read back inside. This is the folder we're going to be doing it. I've already copied the MTK scatter file into it so that if we actually read back all the other part of the RAM that we want to read back here, we will be able to also just load this scatter file from SP Flash 2 and start flashing it. So it's important. So if you're the type that tinkers with your phone, once you get your phone, always do the full read back of your phone before you now start tinkering and all this thing. Then if there's OTA and you can't install it because you've rooted, all you do is that after you're able to do the last OTA, before you start tinkering, just do a read back of your phone and keep all the information inside the folder with the scatter file. So once you've done that, you can now have a backup of your phone, and then you can now start tweaking. So if there is update and you want to install updates in your phone, you have to just do a backup. You already have a Teamwin recovery. Do a backup of your data, whatever you want to back up, and then you use SP Flash 2 again to flash the read back you've done. When you flash it, your phone will be read only, and then you'll be able to install updates. For updates, you might only need to flash up, as I said before, the system partition, the recovery, and the boot. In some cases, recovery and system will do it, but to be on the safe side, you can add the boot for it to be okay. So let's open our SP Flash tool again. Sorry, SP Flash tool. Just close it. Remember, you have to open it as administrator. I'm using the version 5.51532. There might be a newer version depending on when you're watching this video. So open as administrator, and there we are good to go. So it's important now. I want us to load the scatter file from this thing we have selected from the ROM, from the place location we want to do our read back. So remember, you're going to need your scatter file. This one is the one for Android 1. The way you know it is it has up to 28 partition. So that's the one that's already in our phone right now because we flashed Android 1 firmware back into our phone. So this is the one we're going to use. So always keep that at the back of your mind. We're going to look at it to get the address. So let's go to read back. To start off, you're going to add the partition you want to read back. For me, in this case, I want to read back everything. I want to read back all the partition that I flashed from here. All this partition. I want to read it back. I want to read back all this partition. So I want you to see how we can do that. There are 8 altogether. So in read back here, we already added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So to modify this partition, all we have to do now is to double click on the partition we want to, and then select the folder where we want to store it. And the first one we're going to do is the preloader. And look at what is important here now. I want you to understand this because this is very, very important. The file name that is in the scatter file must be the same with what you are going to read back. So let me just copy this guy. Exactly. I don't want to make mistake even in the file name. And I'm going to use it. as the file name here. Remember, there's .bin to show the type of file. You can leave this guy the way it is. There's nothing to change here, and you can say OK. And when you say OK, to open, uh, it will open a new. It will open a new window here. So for older version of SP Flash 2, you have more other information, read page by spare and whatever. But this one is always shorter like this. But you always have to leave this at hexadecimal because all the information here on hexadecimal. So what we have to do now is we're going to go back to our scatter file and we're going to look at some information. First of all, we're going to look at our region. The region that we are reading is EMMC underscore boot 1. So for us to read the preloader, we cannot use EMMC underscore user. So we'll go here and select EMMC boot 1, and then we'll look at the first. This is the first partition. So everything here will have to be 0, 0. If you like, you can leave all the zeros. If you like, you can leave only 1, 0. It will still rearrange it. It automatically convert it to the pattern, the full numbers when you OK it. But if you OK it and the what you put, information you put here is wrong, if you OK it, it will give you error. So beware of that. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to look at our partition size. And we're going to copy this guy. We're going to copy this guy. That's our partition size. That's the length we're going to read. So we can actually just paste it. And when we've done that now, we say OK. Okay, so you discover that this guy has changed now. This guy has changed. So also you can take a look at the other one that we want to connect is LK. So we double click here. The next one that we're going to collect is lk.bin. That's the name of the file. You always put lk dot the extension. You always put the extension of the file in it. So you can also confirm that from here. You can go down and look for the partition index for LK. You see there are other partitions you will pass, but what you have to understand here is why are we passing some of this partition? Why are we passing some of this partition? You will discover that download is true, so this partition will be written again. If we are going to do download or firmware upgrade, it will be written again. So but this partition, this is PGT, you see its download is false, so that partition won't be changed. There are some internal information that are actually written there. So even the operation, you see the operation type is invisible, so you can't do anything. And it's its region, it show you its region, it show you its size, but you can't write anything to this partition because it's an invisible partition. So we'll pick the ones that where the is download is true. These are the ones that you can actually write something to. So some of these folders hidden protected are what the system uses. The system partition, while it's loading, can actually write some things into some of this area that makes the system work. And there are some hardware information that are also hidden in some of the places, in some of those partition. So we're going to go down to LK. That's the next guy. So it's actually in partition index 7, system 7. So you see the file name I've already selected, it's lk.bin. You see download is true. So we're going to pick the start address. We're going to pick the start address and just I actually do copy and paste so as not to make any mistake. And we're going to pick the length too. You might watch and copy it. So this is the partition size. The partition size is the length of what we're going to read back. So just basically I just copy it and I just paste. So and I say, okay, if you what you copied is wrong from what is already what's already in the SV flash to what's already in the SV flash to scatter file, it will give you error. But if what you copied is correct, it will give you. And remember, this one is EMCC user. This one is EMMC boot underscore boot underscore one. This one is EMMC underscore user. So apart from the bootloader, the preloader, every other guy is under EMMC underscore user. So the next one we can look here. See, the next guy we're going to look is boot. Basically, boot is always image. So we'll double click here and select the folder I want to write it back, and we'll just call this guy boot.img. And we're going to save, and then as usual we're going to go back and see this is our boot. Start address is here. Then we'll start reading, and we're going to say, we're going to copy that guy. We're going to put it here as the start address. Make sure you don't make mistake in this address so that you don't think you've read something and you have error. So that's the start address. So let's look at the length. Let's look at the length of what we're going to do. So the length, which is the partition size, is from here. It took me, sorry, the length is here. Okay, there's the length, and I always like to paste. Kind of lazy typing all this. Then the next guy we're going to look at, we're just going to do it sequentially, is recovery. Recovery is also image. So after boot, the next guy we update is recovery. So we'll select the folder that we want to put the backup on, and then we write recovery. Make sure you don't miss the spelling because that'll be very bad. Recovery.img. Then you save, and it's the region is normal, is EMMC underscore user, so you don't need to change that guy, just this two guy. It's only in preloader that you change that. So we check out here. Who's our recovery next? This is our recovery. This is our recovery. So we look at the start address here. Copy. Go to here. Paste. And here the length is the partition size, so let that not be confusing at all. Same partition size with the so the recovery and the boot actually have the same partition size. As you can see, Notepad++ will always show you files that are the same in case if you copy it, or if you're writing a program you repeated something. That's why I recommend Notepad++. So you copy. So it means that when you finish doing read back, the size of your boot and your recovery will be the same thing, because it will read the whole partition, so they'll probably be the same size. After that we'll go to logo. Okay, the next one will be logo, but we need to know the name of logo. I think it's logo.bin. So there are other partition we're going to pass one partition. Okay, it's logo.bin. Okay, you see download is true here. So we're going to go here, and we're going to select the folder that we're going to put it in, and we're going to give it the name logo.bin. Enter. and then we're going to copy the length of logo, the starting address first. Starting address, copy it, just load it in here, and we're going to look at the length of the logo. We also copy that, we'll put it here. Sorry, I should have been typing it, but I like to just copy and paste. Okay, the region is all correct. The next one we're going to look at is after logo, Secro. Okay, we're going to double click this guy, and we have to find the name of the Secro. There are a whole lot of partition, XPDVL, recovery 2. All this one download is false, so we probably won't be downloading it. Radio, we'll be looking for the partition name called Secro. So OEM, there are a whole lot of things in this Android 1 firmware that make it have 28 partition while Infinix have 23. So we're gonna look for this, the guy Secro, and it's .img file. That's an image file. So we'll go to the folder that we want to put them, and Secro, hope I got the spelling, .img. Let's confirm. SECRO. Yeah, I got the spelling right. Whoa, I'm a genius. Okay, so what we do now is we just kind of, as usual, my usual way, just lazy to type. I just copy, and also to be more accurate. That's part of the reason why I copy. It's not just that I'm lazy. I want to be accurate. If possible, I could also be copying the names. And then we're going to copy the length here of the Secro. Always make sure that what you are reading back is stock. It's not good to read back a ROM that you have altered. It's not good because some of the system settings inside have shown that the partition has been altered. So when you flash it back with SP Flash 2, read it back and flash back with FC Flash 2. Oh god, can't even talk. Sorry about that. Now there will be problem because the information inside what you're flashing is showing that the partition has been altered. Why what you're flashing from SP Flash should be that it hasn't been altered. So always make sure that what you flash is stock. So I think the ones remaining now is after Secro we have system. Seems our number is not complete. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we need to add one more, but okay, we need to add one more. So this guy is Secro.img. You can be seeing the names here already. So the next one we need to do is, let's confirm again. The Secro is system. So this guy will name it system. But first of all, let's go to our folder. And normally it's always system.img. System is always the image file. I will save it. And we, as usual, we go down to system. As you can see, system.img download is true, so it can be written. So we'll copy this guy. We'll paste it at the start address here, and then we also copy the partition size. The size is quite big. Copy and place it here at the length. Once you get it right, if you click OK, it will go in and then fill up. But if you get it wrong, to give you error message. So the next guy, sorry, Let's confirm. The next guy after system is catchy, and the catch file. So it's always an image file. First of all, we select the folder we want to place it in, and we name it cracky dot img, and we do save. And as usual, we do our copy and paste. So let's see the start address. Copy start address and the paste, and let's see the same thing with the some other guys we met up before. Okay, we copy this guy, which is the partition size, and we'll place it inside the length, which is also the length also means the partition size, and if it is right, click OK. It will be right. So the last guy that's remaining here, is user data. In some system you have it as data, in some scatter file has as data, in some you have it as user data. So be careful the one you have in your system, the one you have in your scatter file. In this one we have it as is always an image.img file. Have it as user data .img save. So make sure that if you're doing a ROM dump for any other person to use, just you won't add your user file, because it will, your personal information will also be along will be written out along. So this is it here, system index 26, partition 26. So this is the starting address for our system. So we copy as usual, and then we paste it here, and the next one as usual, we copy the partition size. Sorry, missed this guy. Okay, sorry, let me be sure. Why are you not? Okay, good. Copy, and this is about the last one. Sorry for the length it is, but I just want to do all of it. You can just pick. Okay, you can just pick to do system recovery boot. It's bulky. So the thing we'll do now is that we're going to off our phone, because I told you earlier that before you can do anything with SP Flash to the phone, that will have to be off. The older version of SP Flash to have a setting where you can still read something when the phone is on, but these are the newer ones we're using now. So now we are set to read back our full ROM. So the first thing you do is you click on read back, and as you click on read back, then you plug in your phone, and let's see how it goes. So it has received an information, started reading back. It will be reading back set by set, different information, and as that you see the length of the reading back various. Probably I think it's reading it alphabetically or something like that, or the way you arranged it, I think that's the way it's reading it. So it's reading the longer one now. Probably this one should be system. It's taking much time. Other ones went very fast. So I'll pause the video when it's through. Some of my neighbors are becoming noisy, so you might be hearing some noise in the background, please. Don't blame me, blame them. So I'm gonna pause it now. When it's done, we'll continue. Okay, guys, the system has just finished. Probably this one is quicker. Probably this should be the catch. I don't actually know how to call that. what name, cache, different way people call it. So don't mind me. Anyways, the cache is writing now. I think it's gonna be a little bit faster than the system. So we're almost coming to the end of our read back. So I'm still gonna allow cache to run, and then I'll pause the video because user data will also take much time as the system. But I want to save you the time if you can, and also save me the stress of watching all this. So let's look at this one. The cache length is reading everything inside the cache, everything. So see the size of the partition, the total time of 8 minutes. So now it's beginning to read the user data. So I'm going to pause when it's almost done. So come back. Okay guys, we're almost at the end of that, and that's the user data, and you can see we are good, and we are good. When I say we are good, we are good. So we can now go to check our folder where we actually did all this backup to see what exactly has happened. So boom, there it is. So these are all the basic files that we can actually download and write back to our phone. That is download true, not false. So this is where we can see all of them. So that's it for the readback. So anytime you have an issue and you want to maybe receive another OTA from this particular stock Rom that you have, you want to receive the next OTA, but you have rooted and you have done a lot of modding and tweaking, just have to do is to flash this guy back, and then you are ready to go back as good as Stock. So okay guys, so let's load our SP Flash 2 again. Right click, give it administrator right, run as administrator, and say yes. So the last place we do, oh yes, this is it. So we have all our info, all our stock info. We just have all of them here, and that's the information we have here now. So whatever you want, you can always come back and read this and flash it back to your phone. I've really flashed this my phone enough today. But that's notwithstanding, sure. That will be the end for this one. If you have any issue with SV Flash 2, just put in the comment section, and then for all the links where you can download the VCOM USB driver, MTK Droid 2, MP Flash 2, whatever you need is also in the comment section. I'll put it in the description of the video where you can download, and also visit my page in XDA Developers. Star, how to thread, visit it, and then there are a whole lot of information you can learn from that. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.